Hi, welcome to section 9.4, which is the last section in chapter 9. This section is called the law of cosines, okay, which is very similar to the law of sines. It's a little bit harder, but not too bad. And we're still solving triangles that are non-right triangles. So this will help you solve any sort of a triangle that doesn't have a 90-degree angle in it. Now, it can have a 90-degree angle in it, but this will help you solve triangles that aren't 90 degrees. Okay, so the first slide here shows the three formulas for the law of cosines. Okay, they're all the same. They all have the exact same a squared, b squared, c squared equals. And then whatever letter's not on the left, like this one has an a squared on the left, this one says equals the other two letters, b squared plus c squared. This one says b squared on the left, and what's on the right, a squared plus c squared. And then the third one says c squared on the left, and a squared plus b squared is on the right. So as long as you know one, you should know all three of them. Okay, and then they're all the same, minus 2bc, minus 2ac, minus 2ab. Whatever these two letters are right of the equal sign, those are the two letters that are multiplied by 2. And they're all cosine, cosine, cosine. And then whatever letter is on the left, this one, oops, let me get rid of that. If you notice, this one says a squared. So what letter is on the right? Capital A. This one says b squared. So what's on the right? Capital B. This one says c squared. So what's on the right? Capital C. Okay, so those formulas are all the same. Okay, as long as you know one, you know the other two. All right, so going back to the law of sines, okay, these are the only situations that work for law of cosines. Side angle side is the first one. So if they give you a side, an angle, and a side, so side, angle, side, you have to use law of cosines. Or if they give you all three sides, you have to use law of cosines. So these are the only two situations where law of cosines will be held. Okay, so let's do two examples, one side, angle, side, one side, side, side. Hopefully that will make sense for you. All right, so example one. Notice they gave us a side, an angle, and a side. So this is a side, angle, side law of cosines. Okay, we're going to do this the exact same way we've done all the other ones. I'm going to list my angles. I'm going to list my sides. And then we're going to label what we know. We know angle A is 40. We know little c is 20. And we know little b is 12. Okay, and we know we have to use law of cosines because if you notice, we only have one number for each letter pair. Okay, we know angle A, but we don't know little a. We don't know angle B, but we know little b. We don't know angle C, but we know little c. Okay, so that's the only way of telling that you can't use law of sines. Okay, so how we're going to do this is this. We are going, when it's a side angle side, you're going to find the missing side first. That's how you start these. So we're going to use the formula that started with little a squared. And then we finish this off with b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of whatever letter's on the left. That's the angle that we're going to use on the right. And if you notice, the only angle we have is a, so that's why we're using angle A. Okay, so basically all we're going to do is plug in everything that we know. We know little b is 12, so 12 squared, plus c squared is 20 squared, minus 2 times b times c, which is 12 times 20, times cosine of angle A, which is 40. The side angle side now is nice because all I have to do is type all of this information right here onto my calculator screen, and it should give me the correct answer for a squared. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now. All right, so 12 squared plus 20 squared minus 2 times 12 times 20 times cosine, oops, let me go back, mix that up, cosine of 40. All right, so 12 squared plus 20 squared minus 2 times 12 times 20 times cosine of 40. And when you hit enter, that will give you your a squared. So it was 176. And then what did it say? 176.29. So let's just do 0.3. So 176.3. Now, that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in a. So I need to square root both sides to get rid of my a squared. So the power of 2 and the square root cancel. I'm left with a is equal to. I go back to my calculator. second square root, second answer, and that means taking the square root of 176. Let me just type that in there. 176.3. And my answer for A is 13.277 or 13.28. So I have 13.28. So 13.28. All right, so there's the first step to the law of cosines. Hopefully that isn't too bad. All right, next step. I'm going to put a line down here so I can separate this. Now, if you notice, I now have a set. Okay, I can now go back and do the law of sines. Now, the trick is, once you go back to the law of sines, you want to do the smaller of the two first. So I have a 12 and a 20 left. I'm always going to start with the smaller one. Okay, so we're going to set up our law of sines. Sine of 40 over 13.28, there are my A's, equals, we're going to do the B's first, sine of angle B all over little 12. Okay, cross multiply. Sine of 40 times 12 equals 13.28 times sine of B. Divide by 13.28. Divide by 13.28. 13.28 over 13.28 is 1. So sine of B is equal to all of this info on your calculator. So let's do that right now. Clear this out. So sine of 40 times 12, hit enter, and we're going to divide that by 13.28, and that will give me an answer of 0.58. 0.58. So how do I get my angle B? Angle B is equal to, you always use the second inverse. So second sine 0.58 will give me my answer for angle B. So 35.45, let's just say 35 degrees. Okay, so there it is, so 35 degrees. So angle B is 35 degrees. Okay, so it's very easy now to find angle C. 40 plus 35 equals 75. 180 take away 75 is equal to 105. So 105. And you are done. Okay, that's law of cosines, problem 1. That's a side angle side example. Side angle side. All right, last example. Let's do a side example. All right, so I'm going to still do this the same way. I'm going to list what they give me. All right, so let's see here. Angle A, angle B, angle C, little a, little b, little c. So we know A is 12, we know B is 18, and we know C is 9. All right, so now on a side, so if you want to make side, you always start with the biggest side. We're going to find the biggest angle first. So we're going to need the B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine of angle B. So you always start with the largest of the three sides when you're doing a side example. Okay, so let's plug in what we know. B squared, so we have 18 squared equals 12 squared plus 9 squared minus 2 times A, which is 12, times C, which is 9, times cosine of angle B, we don't know. All right, so we're going to use our calculator to help us here. So we have 18 squared. 18 squared equals 324. So 324 equals 144 plus 81 minus 2 times 12 times 9. 2 times 12 is 24. 24 times 9. 24 times 9 is 216. So minus 216 cosine of B. This one entails much more algebra than the last one. Okay, so let's keep going. 324 equals 144 plus 81. 144 plus 81 equals 225. So 225 minus 216 cosine of B. So at this point, you're going to stop. You cannot do 225, oops, wrong thing there. You cannot do 225 minus 216. You cannot do that because this 216 has a cosine attached to it. So the only thing you can do is take over the 225 first and then divide by negative 216. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do next. Okay, so follow along. This is what you do when it's a side, side, side. You're first going to subtract 225 from both sides. So 324 take away 225. 324 take away 225 equals 99. So I get 99 here. Negative 216 cosine of b. And now notice this is being multiplied. So how do I get rid of multiplying? I divide by negative 216. So 99 divided by negative 216 equals negative 0.458. So negative 0.46. Negative 0.46 equals cosine of b. Just let me make sure I didn't get that wrong. Yep, that's right. All right, so how do I get angles? You always hit what when you're getting an angle? Second. So second cosine, negative 0.46. And what's my angle measure? 117.3. So 117 degrees. 117 degrees. So angle B is 117 degrees. Okay, now notice I have a set. I have both B's, so now I can go back to the law of sines, and it's the same as the last problem. When you go back to the law of sines, you always do the smaller one first. Okay, we always do the smaller one first. So sine of 117 over little b, which is 18, equals sine of angle C over little 9. And then we're going to do our law of sines. At this point, I think you should be doing this pretty quickly. Let's just breeze through this. Sine of 117 times 9 equals 18 times sine of C. Divide by 18. 18's cancel, so sine of C is equal to, let's do this on our calculator. So sine of 117 times 9 divided by 18 gives me an angle of 0.445. And remember, I want the angle C, so I have to do second sine 0.45. Enter. 26.7, so 27 degrees. So C is equal to 27 degrees. So this was 0.45. Okay, so now I have 27 degrees. Let's do 117 plus 27. 117 plus 27. And I'm going to subtract 180 minus 144. And that should give me my last angle, which is 36. So 36 degrees. Okay, so there's the law of cosines. We did one example of side, angle, side, one example of side, side, side. They're all done the exact same way, depending on which one you're given. That wraps up Chapter 9. We'll have a test soon, and we'll answer any questions tomorrow if you have any. Have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.